Sure. So I do have, on the next slide, I do have some names of some local agencies, and this is more in the Lexington area. And so right now, in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis, many mental and behavioral health agencies are providing telehealth right now. So there is service provision. It's just going to look a little bit different right now. Some people might want to wait until we're able to see people face to face again. I think that's a decision you can decide as a family. But these are some local resources that we have that offer a variety of services, therapy, medication, testing services. So I do encourage people to research these a little bit further, depending on what your insurance is. You might have to look at some different ones to see where your insurance is accepted. And this certainly is not comprehensive. These are just some of the agencies that are available. There are others as well. If we go to the next slide, Mike, and perhaps, Mike, is there a way to make these resources available or maybe post them later on too, so people have an opportunity to go back and look at them?
Absolutely, sure, okay. It does.
Perfect. And these are some websites for families too that just have some educational resources and tools that they can use for themselves and for their children. This last one here, the Psychology Today, the Find a Therapist resource. This is a great website. This is where you can put in your location, you can put in a specific issue that you're dealing with, you can search by insurance. This is just a really helpful tool. If a person is looking to find a therapist, but they need something very specific, this website makes it really easy and just really helps narrow down that search based on your needs and based on your resources. So I do encourage people to check that out. And these are some apps. So the reason I'm recommending apps, especially for our youth, because so many of us are on our phones anyway, and I mean, it's just the way it is. So these are some helpful apps that you might want to look into just to help with anxiety symptoms, depression symptoms. Some of these provide some mood charting. Some of these walk us through different relaxation techniques. Some of your teenagers might be more receptive to using an app than using some other tools, or maybe even more receptive to using something like this and sitting down and talking to us. So I just wanted parents to have an idea of some potential apps they could use either for themselves or for their child or teenager that might be helpful.
So the last question that I'll ask you, Dr. Terhune, how can our Catholic faith guide us on these issues?
Sure. So I think what our faith can provide for us is a sense of hope and purpose that transcends how we're feeling right now. A lot of us are struggling from a feeling standpoint, and especially in cases of depression and anxiety, we might feel fear, we might feel hopeless, we might feel despair even. And so what our faith provides us is a sense of knowing that transcends how we feel in that moment. And it's hard. It's hard keeping our focus on that when we're so immersed in what we're feeling and the day-to-day stressors. But I think first and foremost, that's what our faith provides, is that sense of purpose that transcends how we feel. Research does support faith and spiritual practices as a coping resource for depression and anxiety, which is really good news. And so things like prayer or meditation with the rosary, that can actually be a coping skill for us. And research supports that it can help us be more relaxed. It can help improve a sense of optimism. So from a research standpoint, faith is actually a practical coping tool. And then there's the issue of our faith community and reaching out to our faith community for support. I think we sometimes have the perception that other people have it more together than us, or they're doing better than us, and they're not. I promise you, they're not. We're all struggling, and I think most people would be surprised to learn that our struggles are probably more similar than they realize. So reach out to your faith community for solidarity, for support, for encouragement. We don't have to be isolated in this process. That support is out there. So it's just taking that next step and that leap of faith, essentially, and the courage to reach out and ask for help.